there's a particular cruelty to inheriting everything money can buy at birth, only to discover that fortune doesn't purchase loyalty, love, or protection from those who see you as nothing more than a walking bank account. When your butler warns you at age 9 that someday you'll be the richest girl in the world and all that means is somebody will want to marry you for your money, you might think you'd remember, but desperation for affection makes us forget even our wisest lessons. Barbara Hutton spent 66 years learning this truth, marrying 7 times, acquiring princes and counts and movie stars, only to die alone in a Los Angeles hotel room with $3,500 to her name. A billion-dollar inheritance evaporated into cigarette smoke and divorce settlements, proving that sometimes the price of love is everything you own. In today's episode, we expose how America's most famous heiress became the 20th century's most exploited woman, married for her money 7 times over, and died penniless while her ex-husbands lived comfortably on her generosity, demonstrating that loneliness can be more expensive than any yacht, any jewel, any mansion ever purchased. 1879 Watertown, New York. Frank Winfield Woolworth opened his first 5-and-dime store with borrowed capital and audacious vision. The concept revolutionized retail. Fixed prices, no haggling. Merchandise displayed where customers could touch a revolutionary democracy of consumption by 1912. When his granddaughter Barbara arrived, Woolworth commanded an empire of over 1,000 stores across America. The Gothic Woolworth building scraped Manhattan's skyline, tallest in the world, cathedral to commerce paid for entirely in cash. 58 stories of hubris and Nichols. Barbara Woolworth Hutton entered the world November 14, 1912. In New York City, third-generation heir to dime store dominance. Her mother, Edna Woolworth, married Franklin Laws Hutton, co-founder of E.F. Hutton Investment Banking. When Wall Street spoke, people listened. When Woolworth spoke, people bought. The merger of retail and finance should have produced dynasty. Instead, it birthed tragedy. Franklin Hutton possessed all the qualities that make terrible fathers and worse husbands. Brilliant businessman, vicious drinker, unashamed philanderer who kept mistresses like other men kept appointments. Edna, trapped in a gilded marriage that felt like a cage, sought solace where she could find it, including an affair with Bud Bouvier, youngest brother of John Vernon Bouvier, father of future First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy. Small world, Manhattan society. Everyone sleeping with everyone else's relatives. May 2, 1917, 4-year-old Barbara pushed open her mother's bedroom door at the Plaza Hotel. Time to wake up. Time for breakfast, time for another day. But Edna Woolworth Hutton, age 33, would never wake again. The official cause, mastoiditis, an ear infection that led to suffocation. No autopsy performed. The coroner decided investigation unnecessary. Convenient, considering suicide rumors that persist to this day. Whispers of poison. Despair over her husband's infidelities, finally proving fatal. The family paid well for discretion. Some claim money purchasing silence as effectively as it purchases anything. Barbara discovered the body. That trauma carved grooves in her psyche deep as canyons. The image of her mother's corpse haunted every relationship, every marriage, every desperate attempt to find someone who wouldn't leave her. Death became her earliest memory. Abandonment, her foundational lesson. In 1924, Barbara's grandmother Jenny Woolworth died, bequeathing her $26 million, approximately $378 million in today's currency. Another $2 million in stock from her mother's estate entered a separate trust, both administered by Franklin Hutton, who, despite his failings as a father and husband, possessed undeniable financial genius. He pulled out of the stock market weeks before the 1929 crash, protecting Barbara's inheritance while fortunes crumbled around them by her 21st birthday in 1933. Franklin had grown her fortune to $50 million, not including an additional $8 million from her mother's estate, roughly $967 million today. Barbara Hutton became one of the wealthiest women in the world before she could legally drink. The butler's warning echoed. Someday you may be the richest girl in the world, but all that means is that somebody will want to marry you for your money. Prophecy disguised as caution. June 1930, Barbara's 18th birthday. The Ritz-Carlton Hotel. $60,000 for a debutante ball while America starved through the Depression's darkest months. Guests from the Astor and Rockefeller families danced while bread lines stretched around city blocks. Entertainment by Rudy Vallee and Maurice Chevalier. Newspapers crucified her. Poor little rich girl, they dubbed her, dripping with sarcasm. The nickname stuck. Later it would become tragic rather than satirical, prophetic rather than mocking. Public outrage forced Barbara to Europe, escaping American hatred of her conspicuous consumption during national suffering. Exile at 18. The first of many flights from Judgment. 1933, Biarritz, France. Barbara met Alexis Mdivani at a casino. Though met understates the calculation involved. Alexis and his siblings fled Georgia during the Soviet invasion of 1921, claiming royal titles that didn't technically exist, the marrying Mdivanists they called themselves, social climbers who turned matrimony into business strategy. Sister Rousey engineered the meeting with surgical precision. Alexis was already married to Louise Van Olen, Barbara's friend and member of the Astor family. Minor obstacle. Rousey orchestrated the seduction in San Sebastian, Spain, manipulated Barbara into compromising positions, threatened to destroy her reputation with bad publicity unless she married Alexis. 20-year-old Barbara, desperate for love, terrified of scandal, walked straight into the trap. June 22, 1933, Russian Orthodox ceremony in Paris. Franklin Hutton provided a $1 million dowry, payment for the privilege of his daughter, marrying a fake prince. The wedding night shattered what remained of Barbara's self. Alexis looked at his bride and pronounced her too fat. Barbara, 5'4" and 148 pounds, took his cruelty to heart. She immediately began a crash diet. Black coffee, nothing else. For 3 weeks at a time, 40 pounds vanished within months. Anorexia nervosa took root that night, a parasite that would feed on her for the rest of her life. Fasting and binging. Cigarettes and alcohol and barbiturates. Later, Coca-Cola, by the caseload when digestive disorders forced her off liquor. Alexis spent Barbara's money like water through a sieve. 2 years, he burned through millions while collecting a stable of sports cars and mistresses. March 1935, divorce. Barbara paid him off. First payment of many. May 14, 1935, 23 days after divorcing Alexis. Barbara married Count Kurt Heinrich Eberhard, Erdmann Georg von Hogritz-Hardenberg, another aristocrat. Another fraud. Kurt von Reventlow wore his title like armor, but beneath the nobility lurked a violent drunk who saw Barbara's fortune as his personal treasury. The abuse escalated quickly. Verbal attacks, physical beatings. The worst left her hospitalized, him in jail briefly. Money bought his release. Reventlow convinced Barbara to renounce her American citizenship in December 1937. Adopting Danish nationality for tax purposes, this betrayal enraged Americans further. Walter Winchell attacked her on radio. The New York Times called her despicable. She'd become the country's most hated heiress, abandoning the nation that built her. Fortune. February 24, 1936. Barbara gave birth to her only child. Lance the world's richest baby, newspapers proclaimed. She nearly died in labor. The trauma, combined with her anorexia, made further children impossible. This son would be her only chance at family. At legacy. At someone who might love her for herself rather than her bank account. The custody battle after their 1938 divorce proved vicious. Reventlow initially won custody, immediately kidnapped Lance to Canada, keeping him from Barbara for years. She didn't regain her son until 1945. By then, Lance was 9, raised by nannies and boarding schools. Another generation of Huttons learning that money couldn't purchase proper parenting. July 8, 1942. Barbara married Cary Grant. Hollywood royalty wedding. Woolworth royalty. Finally, perhaps, someone who had his own money, his own fame, his own reasons for marriage beyond her checkbook. The wedding was simple. She wore a white ruffled blouse with a striped coat dress. No extravagance this time. Maybe simplicity would work where opulence failed. Grant became stepfather to 6-year-old Lance, taking the troubled boy under his wing with genuine affection. For 3 years, Barbara almost tasted normalcy, but Grant focused obsessively on his film career. She felt neglected. Abandoned again. Different type of abandonment than her mother's death or her father's indifference, but abandonment nonetheless. They divorced in 1945. Grant refused alimony, only husband who left Barbara as rich as he found her. Years later, designer Oleg Cassini recalled Grant begging him, "I hope you don't have any interest in her personally, because frankly, that would be a terrible blow to me. If I can trust you, I will ask you to do me a favor, intercede on my behalf. Tell her to be reasonable." Even Grant, with all his charm and success, couldn't navigate Barbara's demons, the anorexia, the drugs, the desperate need for validation that no amount of attention satisfied. March 1, 1947, Prince Igor Trebetsky, Russian aristocrat, Targa Florio racing champion, introduced 12-year-old Lance to Grand Prix racing, sparking a passion that would define the boy's life. The marriage lasted until 1951. Another divorce. Another settlement. Barbara's fortune hemorrhaging through legal fees and buyouts. December 30, 1953. Porfirio Barossa, a Dominican diplomat, notorious international playboy. This marriage lasted 53 days. 53 days of Rubirosa continuing his affair with actress Jaja Gabor, while Barbara paid bills. Phyllis Patel coined the phrase in her Milwaukee Sentinel review, "The bride, for her 5th wedding, wore black and carried a scotch and soda." Barbara gave Rubirosa $3.5 million in the divorce, plus a converted B-25 bomber, because why not? His previous ex-wife, tobacco heiress Doris Duke, had given him sports cars, polo ponies, a plantation, and $25,000 annually for life, competing with Duke in generosity toward shared championship-level dysfunction. November 8, 1955. Baron Gottfried von Kram, German tennis star, old friend. Maybe friendship could sustain marriage where passion failed, it couldn't. Divorce, 1959. He died in a car crash near Cairo in 1976. Barbara outlived most of her husbands. Small comfort. April 7, 1964. Prince Pierre Raymond Don Vin Na, 7th husband. Met in Tangier where Barbara maintained a palace. The marriage disintegrated by 1966. Permanently separated but never formally divorced before her death. 7 marriages. 7 failures. Millions in settlements. Only Cary Grant refused her money. The others plundered her fortune with practiced efficiency. July 24, 1972. Aspen, Colorado. Lance Reventlow, age 30, boarded a single-engine Cessna 206 with 3 companions. He wanted to scout locations for a ski resort development. The pilot, Gifford Hooker, age 27, possessed only 39 hours of flying experience. Student pilot navigating the Rockies during a thunderstorm. Gifford flew into a blind canyon, stalled the aircraft attempting to turn around. The plane plunged into a wooded mountainside 8 miles from the nearest road. All 4 aboard died instantly. Barbara, by then a recluse, didn't attend the memorial. Couldn't face it. Lance's death sent her into despair so profound she never recovered. Her only child, the one person who might have loved her unconditionally, gone. Cary Grant attended. The ex-husband who took nothing showed up for the stepson. The biological mother who gave everything couldn't bring herself to appear. The final years blurred together, chain-smoking in bed. Coca-Cola by the case. Emaciated from decades of anorexia. Designer Oleg Cassini remembered, she was very thin. Gone. The spirit was gone, the life was gone out of her. The photographs from this period, shock. Skeletal figure drowning in expensive clothes, eyes hollow. The poor little rich girl transformed into living ghost, haunting her own existence. Barbara frequented luxury hotels, unable to bear her empty mansions. She'd accumulated homes around the world. Sumia, a Japanese-style palace in Cuernavaca, Mexico. Sidi Hosni Palace in Tangier, apartments in Paris and London. But they felt like mausoleums. Hotels provided the illusion of transience. Maybe if she never stayed anywhere too long. The loneliness couldn't catch her. May 11, 1979. Four Seasons Hotel. Los Angeles. Barbara Hutton suffered a heart attack, 66 years old. The doctors couldn't save her. Perhaps they shouldn't have tried. What life remained worth living? The aftermath revealed truth more devastating than any divorce settlement. Barbara's bank account contained $3,500, a fortune reduced to pocket change. $50 million inherited. $967 million in modern currency, reduced to the price of a used car. 16 people attended her funeral. 16. The woman who'd filled ballrooms and opera houses and palace grounds with thousands of guests ended with 16 mourners. Most of her ex-husbands didn't bother showing up. They'd already taken what they wanted. She was interred in the Woolworth family mausoleum at Woodlawn Cemetery, the Bronx. Full circle. Back to the family who'd built the fortune she destroyed. Back to the grandfather who'd called her princess and surrounded her with luxury that became prison rather than privilege. The Woolworth empire itself crumbled. Overexpansion, competition, changing retail landscapes. The stores began closing in the 1980s. By 1997, Woolworth shut down entirely. The five and dime that built skyscrapers vanished like morning fog. Barbara's destructive spending didn't sink the company alone, but her conspicuous waste and scandalous marriages damaged the brand's working appeal. Hard to sell yourself as the people's store when the founder's granddaughter's spending enough on divorce settlements to fund small nations. Poet Ogden Nash memorialized Barbara's matrimonial disasters in light verse. Said Amy McPherson to Barbara Hutton, "How do you get a marriage to button?" "You'll have to ask some other person," said Barbara Hutton to Amy McPherson. Even in satire, her tragedy resonated. The joke everybody understood. The punchline that never stopped being sad. What could Frank Woolworth have done differently? Estate planners use Barbara's case as cautionary tale. Trust structures matter. Staggered distributions prevent destruction. 25% at age 20-5.25% at 30. Spread the inheritance across decades, forcing maturity between payouts. Allow time for wisdom to develop before fortune overwhelms judgment. But Barbara received everything at 21, no restrictions. No protection from herself or the predators circling. Her butler saw it coming. At 9 years old, he warned her, "Inheritance makes you target." But how could a child understand? How could anyone prepared for the systematic exploitation that followed? 7 men who married checkbook instead of woman, who walked away rich while leaving her emotionally bankrupt. Cary Grant remained her friend until the end. He understood something the others didn't. Barbara wasn't just rich, she was damaged. Traumatized child who discovered her mother's body. Neglected by an alcoholic father, abused by husbands who saw dollar signs instead of person, Grant took nothing because he needed nothing from her. That simple act of not exploiting her made him the only husband worth remembering. Lance inherited his mother's racing passion but also her tragedy. The world's richest baby grew into talented driver, designed the Scarab race car, won international competitions, then died at 36 in an entirely preventable plane crash caused by inexperienced pilot flying in dangerous conditions. Did Lance's millions make him careless? Did inherited wealth breed recklessness? The Reventlow curse suggests yes. Money creating illusion of invincibility that physics violently corrected Barbara. Hutton's story isn't about marrying badly, it's about American inheritance law's fundamental flaw. Wealth without wisdom equals disaster. $50 million handed to 21-year-old with childhood trauma and no emotional support system guaranteed. Catastrophe. Every husband exploited the inevitable result. The poor little rich girl spent 6 years proving money can't purchase happiness, love, or protection from loneliness. She bought princes and counts and movie stars, but their affection came with price tags. Divorce settlements. Investment schemes. Luxury purchases on her accounts. Love measured in withdrawal, slips and property transfers. She died in a hotel room because everywhere else felt haunted. Died nearly broke because generosity and exploitation became indistinguishable. Died alone because 16 mourners represented everyone left who cared even slightly. Frank Woolworth built empire from nickels and dimes. His granddaughter reduced it to $3,500 and cautionary tale. From waterfront retail to Woolworth, building to Barbara's empty bank account in 3 generations, the American dream's dark inverse. Proof that inheritance without purpose, wealth without identity, money without meaning adds up to nothing at all. And now we want to hear from you in the comments. Have you heard of Barbara Hutton before? What do you think could have saved her from this fate? We look forward to your thoughts below.